Welcome to the Collage Podcast, and thank you for making us a part of your day. If you enjoy the podcast, please like, rate, and subscribe.
Hey, we want to welcome you to another edition of the Collage Podcast, and we are excited. I don't know when. Well, we're always excited, so that's a rude intro. But we are excited today because I don't know when you're listening to this or where you're at. Doesn't matter. But this is the first podcast of 2025, so we are setting the tone and the flavor of this whole year. So no pressure.
Okay.
So today we are excited. Also, not just because it's the first one, but we have a friend of ours up here that wanted to come talk to us, and this is Laura.
Hi.
Okay, so hello, Laura. How are you?
I'm doing really
good. Okay, so we've got Laura up here. She does not know completely what we are getting into, nor do I, so that is fair. But how about this? Because people out there, again, let me just kind of tell you, we are in a little place called Temple, Texas. That's a little town here in Central Texas. We'll say that every time we are recording out of a place called Feed My Sheep here in Temple. And what Feed My Sheep is a ministry that we work with all different kind of people that are hungry. And we would say they are hungry physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And we try to feed those different needs in various different forms. And it's in light of that we have Laura here. And so tell us a little bit about Laura and what you want the whole entire world to know about you.
Oh, gosh.
Well, actually, that's my mom and like my grandmother that are listening to this. But other than that, not just kidding. So tell me about Laura.
Well, I am a mom, which is really important to me, obviously. I am an empty nester, so it's a really fun season of life right now.
Do you like it?
I love it.
Okay. I'm having a difficult time with that.
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
I love it. I've been an empty nester for 3 years now. I was a teen mom.
Okay.
So I've been a mom for a long time. And so it's really nice to kind of have that freedom that I never had since I was 17. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a good season. I like it.
Nice.
But, yeah. Just stay busy and work and.
Okay. And so like here for people out there, so Laura is one that serves with us here at Feed My Sheep. She comes up various forms of that. And I will just brag on her. I'm not going to give you great details, but no offense out there. Like if I said, hey, this is Laura, she's a mother and she has a van, you're going to be like, oh, I know her story. No, Laura's got a stinking cool van.
I love it.
It is such a cool van for traveling.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things that we have kind of connected on is you like to go on adventures, like head off, that lack of a better term. You just drive off and you're going to go to Yellowstone in the van and you just go.
Yeah, I do. Which that's a part of my whole empty nester going into the season. And it's so much that I've learned in my life on how to kind of come at a different season or tackle a different season in a right way. I know that I've got control of certain things. And so to bring myself into that season, I knew it was going to be hard because I'm a single mom. I'm single. I've been single for 10 years.
Okay.
And have chosen to stay this way. And when my daughter moved out a couple of years ago and went to college, I knew that it was going to be a tough transition. She's my best friend. She's my last kid at home and all that I have left at home besides my little dog. But so I knew that I needed to do something for myself to kind of go into that, to make it a good transition in. And so I dropped her off at college in Arizona, and then I just took off on a 2-week-long road trip. That was my first road trip, yeah.
Okay.
And it was the best trip of my entire life. And I work remotely. It's kind of like the perfect season. I have a job where I can work remotely, so I could take off and go on this trip and still work the whole time. But I just camped. I tent camped, and I camped out of my car.
Really?
And yeah, and I got a couple hotels, but I was trying to kind of keep the spending to a minimum. And then also just, I love being outdoors. And so I just had the greatest time ever. And so then when I came back, I decided I'm going to keep doing this. This is going to be me for as long as I can make this happen. financially and whatever. And so I bought a van and I redid the van And and it's been the coolest thing ever. It's a tiny little van, but I redid the inside and stuff. So it has taken me on the best adventures in my life.
Okay, good. And you know what? It's kind of funny. Laura and I were just sitting here because, hey, we're recording something. And she's like, hey, what are we going to talk about? And I'm like, I don't know. And we thought, we had said, we're going to talk about this. Okay. It wasn't what we were going to talk about here. Okay. So this is interesting to me because like this, life has many different seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the phrase that you use there. I mean, like whether you're the biggest winter fan of all winter fans out there, that season comes to an end.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what comes? You got spring. And it doesn't matter if you're the best. Spring is like the most awesomest time of the year. Guess what? Summer comes.
Yeah.
And then fall's going to come. And then winter's going to come again. It's a cycle. Everything comes and these seasons come. And it doesn't do me a whole lot of good right now. Okay. To go, oh, I really loved fall. I hate winter. Why can't we just go back to fall?
Yeah.
Because the season is gone.
Yeah.
It will come back, maybe.
Yeah.
But it's gone. And we're now in winter, and why not enjoy winter?
Yeah.
And all that it brings. And then when the spring comes, you're like, man, I really miss the cold. Now we're back in this. And we find these things, and we kind of lament. Yeah, I want to hear. Did you know that you were going to, when you dropped your daughter off, you went to Arizona, you dropped her off for school. Did you know when I drop her off, I'm gone for a bit?
Yeah, I had the plan of, I started planning it probably about 6 months before and kind of laying out the road trip because I had never done it before. I'm not big on driving long distances.
What?
Though now I do that. Well, before I wasn't, but here we are in a new season and look at me, I drive all across the U.S. I actually even just drove to Canada. But I planned this trip. So it was like, what was really special about it was I dropped her off.
Mm-hmm.
And the day I dropped her off, if you dropped your kid off at college before she wants me gone like immediately.
Okay.
And as a parent, we're like, well, you sure you don't need me here? You want me to walk you around the school? Can we go meet your friends? Whatever. She was ready for me to go like that day. And so, we said our goodbyes and I left and I started getting a little teary-eyed and I got in my car and I'm like, oh, I am headed to the mountains. I'm not sad anymore. So it was just, like I said, it was preparing myself for this transition that instead of with my son, when my son he's 6 years older than her. And I remember like his junior year of high school, I was on the floor in the fetal position, just sobbing. And I was crying all the time because it was just, my first kid's going to leave the house that's been my baby for so long. And so that was a really hard transition. And so I knew, I planned it and it was great. It was amazing. I maybe got teary-eyed for a whole few minutes and then I hit the road and I was focused on the fun I was about to have.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. And what I like on that, well, twofold, is interesting discussion because I can feel your hurt as well, different, even on the male side, because I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
Different order. Well, no, same order. My son
Boy
is the older and my daughter is the younger. And, no offense to boys, to guys, to men, okay. For a lot of chapters of their lives, for fathers, you're like, this little dude is wearing me out. Like when they're like 15, 16, they know everything. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, they get to this place and you're like, man, I kind of enjoy this adult.
Yes.
Okay. And you're like, man, I kind of enjoy this person. And it's at that juncture on a guy that you're like, oh man, crud. And now he's going away because he needs to. Like he needs to go become him. And you're like, well, doggone it. He's finally the person that, wow, I enjoyed this. What was interesting on my son is like, you're going, okay, I'm kind of sad, but the relationship didn't change a little bit. And it was tough. Now I don't know for me, my daughter, she went kind of like, well, she went different direction. Yours went west, mine went east. So she was in Tennessee. And I dropped her off and you're like, oh, I'll walk around to make sure this is, and she was like, see ya.
Bye.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, hey, do you want me to walk you with your roommate? Do you want me to help you unpack something? No. Do you need me to put stuff together? No. And so very independent. And there was a moment you're like, hold on. She doesn't need me anymore. She does, but in a different way.
Yeah.
That's right. And so and then there's a selfish motivation. Okay. But all of that, the kids, so then to make sure, because not everybody can relate to the experience of bringing kids off to school. Okay. So then we won't leave anybody out. But the discussion to me that is interesting on seasons is we have a choice of how we embrace the new season. We cannot stop it from coming.
Yeah.
We do not choose some of the seasons we go to.
Yeah.
Okay. So some of them are good and some of them are difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so here with the weather, we've got a foreknowledge of, next week it's going to be in the low 20s and teens. Okay. So you can prepare for that a little bit and go. In life, we don't always get this forewarning of, hey, guess what, Jeff? The season you thought was coming is totally different than what you thought, and you're now in this season, and you don't even know. Like here, I know winter ends theoretically on such and such a time on the calendar.
Yeah.
So I'm just going, if I can just make it, if I can make it to March, then I'm done with winter. Life, we don't know when March is.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know when this season is going to end, and we enter all these things. So let me ask you, would say, you said this is one of your, at this juncture, most enjoyable seasons that you've been in. Like you are finding joy in the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will say a lot of that comes from my own attitude.
Okay. Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a firm believer. One of my favorite words is perspective. And no matter how hard life is in the moment or how good it is in the moment, our perspective and how we choose to view things shifts everything.
Agreed.
Because you can be, I mean, I've been in some very bad situations when I was younger, some really rough situations when I was younger, and just really hard seasons of life. And, some of those seasons I didn't bring myself into, some of them I did. Some things I couldn't help, some things I could, but I don't know. I guess like looking back at the bigger picture now, I love to look back on my life and my past. I'm somebody who likes to revisit things from my past because to me it's healing. It's also a reminder of it's going to be okay. I'm going to make it through whatever seasons comes to me. I've made it through this. So if I also have a better perspective of life in general, when something tough comes, I can either just say, okay, I'm going to drop my daughter off and I'm going to be alone and I'm going to be on my own and I'm single and it's going to be hard and I'm going to come home to an extremely quiet home and I can focus on all these negative things because even though I say this is my best season ever, I could still find plenty of things that could make me sad if I would allow it to make me sad. But I'm not going to because I'm going to focus on the good things in life. I'm going to focus on it's a new season, it's fun, I can do this, and I know also not everybody is going to drop their kid off at college and not everybody's going to have this perfect opportunity that I have to hit the road and, go on some great vacation and do all this traveling. This is a kind of a rare thing. I get that. But there's still better ways to kind of go into seasons and kind of work on your perspective and how you're seeing things.
Okay. Interesting. These always is perplexing to me because this is not at all the direction that we were going to talk, but this is my wheelhouse. Like I say this all the time here. Like the redneck term I use is I cannot control the weather. I can simply control how I react to the weather.
Yeah.
Backpacking 101.
Yeah.
If it's sunny, I will enjoy the sunshine. If it rains, I want to feel every raindrop. Okay. And I cannot control that. I can simply control my response. You would say perspective, I would say response. Same word. And then for me, the one thing I came up, because I'm terrible at math, I don't even know why I came up with a mathematical formula that is, for me, the secret to life. It is an empowering thing to me. And this is trademarked. I don't even know what trademark means, but this is trademark. Okay, so whatever that, it's not. Okay, but I would say in life, everything, E plus R equals O. And R is a variable. So I would say an event plus our response equals the outcome, and we control the R.
Yeah.
Okay. So our response is what an event, how we respond to it, that equals the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, our perspective on these things. So like you say, and it is a choice.
Yeah.
Okay, things that happen, the event is not a choice.
No.
Good things happen, bad things happen. Okay, and unfortunately, my response to the event is the thing I can control. I cannot undo the event, but I can control the response. And it is not a one-time thing.
Yeah.
It is like you said, it is a proactive throughout the course of, okay, I will choose to respond this way again. I will find ways to respond positively. So like this, we go, you're in a great season. You found happiness because you're proactively seeking it out and not staying in the place that would proactively bring sadness, despair, and grief.
Yeah.
It's a choice.
Yes.
Okay. You cannot necessarily choose whether or not your daughter left. You cannot choose that your house now has far fewer residents than it did before. That's life.
Yep.
You can choose that you chose, I am going to respond and I am going to live life abundantly and live it with joy.
Yeah.
Whatever that means individually.
Mm-hmm.
Economics don't play a part in that. Whether you have a whole lot of money or a little bit of money, the response is still the same.
I fully agree there. Yeah,
Okay.
I fully agree because I feel like I've been in all different areas of that. I've lived on nothing, and then I've lived on plenty. You know, I've just and it still comes down to how we react and and how we handle things. So again, not everybody's going to have the opportunity to kind of take off and go on a vacation or something like that. But still, I mean, go outside and go for a walk. That's free. Or, you know, just find something that brings you joy or focus on little things in this life that bring you joy. Like I find joy in the tiniest of things.
Agreed.
Yeah. But I mean, but that also then helps my outlook on everything else. Like it's going to be okay. This life is pretty great. It's pretty hard and it can be pretty bad, but it's also really great. So I get to choose, am I going to focus on the really hard or I'm going to focus on the little things that are good, even though sometimes the things that are good are only the little things that I can see other places. But I can still choose to focus on those little good things rather than the storm that may be brewing in my life at the moment.
Okay. And let me ask, so like this, because with it, this is 101 for me. Like this is no brainer. Okay. Other people would choose to go, oh, that's naive, juvenile. Oh, you found this little small little sliver of good. You don't even understand how much bad is going on. And then you're just being naive.
I mean, I understand.
Okay. Yeah.
I've lived a lot of it.
Okay.
So I completely understand. And I feel I know that's what got me to this place. That's what brought me to this mindset. Everything that I've been through in my past could either break me or create a stronger person. And I've chosen to not let it break me by doing the work and, you know, looking at things in a different way. But I mean, I've been in some really dark valleys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask. Can I ask?
Yeah.
Got to ask that question.
Yeah.
Okay. Why did you not quit when many people do? Don't even need to know what the circumstance. Why didn't you quit? Because we all have it in us.
You know,
why'd you keep going?
I tried to quit.
Okay. Fair enough.
Younger.
Fair enough.
I definitely tried to quit a couple times when I was younger. I've scars to prove it. And, you know, just there were plenty of times when I wanted to quit.
Okay.
And I tried to quit. But I was a teenager and I don't know. I don't really, even with my faith, I don't have that one moment where I was sitting somewhere and I said, boop, life changed. It was like God was working on me just slowly over the years. And I guess at some point I could just slowly start kind of looking back and saying, you know, these really hard things happen to me, but I'm okay. I am okay. And I made it out and I'm okay. And it's going to be okay. And there's good things that can come. I'm going to still probably face some really hard things in life ahead still.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd start going in every direction, but I don't feel like it's naive to me because again, I've been through just some rough stuff. I don't know, just and I don't even know where to even start with all of it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But like that. So like this. So somebody who has clarity of this, of going, man, it's a choice. For me, what's intriguing is that person has seen the dark valley.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no way you can come to that place and go, it's a choice. And I either have to live this way, like even me, and that's one of the benefits, I guess we would say, of getting old is you have perspective in it. You can look back and you'd go, man, I can look at the 17-year-old Jeff and I'm going, this dude didn't have a clue.
Yeah.
And wanted to give up or wanted to go this way. And these little things that you don't even notice in life occur. And then you make it through that season, and then all of a sudden when you get older, you're at a different place and you're like, it's easier to persevere because you have this body of work that you carry around with you. That's your life.
Yeah.
That you're like going, well, yeah, this is nothing. I've already been through this. This body of work makes it easier to say these sentences of like, well, no, this is nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. When you're younger, and that's not taking away from anything. Like we're not looking at anybody's problems who are listening to this and saying, we don't think your darkness is truly dark, and we do not think your problems are truly
Yeah.
Not at all.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's real. And in the moment, it's painful. It's whatever it is, whatever you're facing at the time. And you just get in this survival mode.
That's right.
There's so many times where I was just in survival mode. I really feel like there was just this huge season of my life where it was simply survival mode. And I just failed and failed and failed and failed over and over again, and would get in get out of one bad situation, get into another bad situation, get out of, just to continually fail. I don't know. I mean, my mind goes in 20 different directions. So sorry, cut that out.
No, we don't cut that. We don't cut that.
We cut that part out.
But like that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for us, like that. And then for me, what's terribly devastating, what is intriguing to me is that you reach places in these seasons, you're not there now, that you go, I'm done with this race.
Yeah.
Can't do this anymore. So it's not like we're going, you always knew that you were stronger than every other person. Yeah. No, we're not saying that at all.
No, absolutely not. I never felt like a strong person.
Okay.
When I was going through things in my teen years, I didn't feel strong at all. I feel strong now because I know I'm strong, because I know that I can make the changes, and it's up to me on how I see things or how I view things or how I'm going to go at things or how I'm going to handle things. And don't get me wrong, I still handle plenty of things wrong.
Okay.
I'm still going to walk into different seasons, I'm sure, and completely screw up or, handle it wrong. It's normal, right? It's like, but I think I know another big thing is learning to give myself grace. And that took me a very long time to learn.
Okay. Very good.
To know that I'm going to fail again. I'm not going to handle things right again, but I now love myself enough, and I now give myself enough grace. And that's what gets me through. To know like, hey, I'm going to screw up, but I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I'm going to give myself grace because I'm going to give you grace. I'm going to give everyone else grace. Why would I not give it to myself? And it took me a very long time to learn to love myself and to give myself grace for whether it was the things that I went through that I created, or the things that I went through that I had no control over. I deserve grace for all of it. I'm given grace by God for all of it.
Right.
So why am I not giving myself this grace? And that's one thing that's really, really helped me in life, is learning to give myself grace.
Let me ask, because I would say one of the hardest things we face here to feed my sheep, people that are serving, people that are receiving, whatever it is, the inability of them to give grace to themselves.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah,
Why?
It's not, I don't know. I think we just beat ourselves up over everything.
We do.
I mean, I did that for a long time. For a really long time, I beat myself up over, all the things. I don't know. I guess it's just kind of a natural I don't know.
Agreed.
I just did. And I would think you try to almost kind of find fault. It's like something happens in your life and then you want to find out, well, why did this happen to me? I think one, definitely you need to remove that why did this happen to me mindset.
Okay. Sure.
I think that's very important. Because bad things happen to a lot of people and bad things happen to good people. But just kind of, hey, this happened. How am I going to tackle it? But just, I don't even know where I was going with that.
That makes two of us. I'm just kidding.
This is what happens when you get older.
No, but like that. So like in these things, grace, which is something that it's a gift for all of us that is not earned. We know all these sayings. We know, and they're not sayings. They're not cute. We can go into Hobby Lobby. Sorry, that's free advertisement for Hobby Lobby. But we can go into Hobby Lobby, and there's going to have 5 jillion signs that I can put around the house, or I wouldn't, okay? But you could put around your house that say, oh, God loves you no matter what. Grace is yours, whatever. Okay. Even this, we can look at that, and it's decently easy for us to afford it to others. Like I'll be like, Laura, you're all right. Like, you're just perfect the way you are. And we would leave this, and I'm going, man, this is great. Bobby, you're all right. These mistakes that happened, you're just exactly how. And then, but me, when I go home and I look at Jeff, because I know Jeff in and out. Okay. And I'm going to go, man, what in the world were you doing here, dude? And what are you doing here? And you look, it's hard to afford yourself the same grace that we deserve. But God himself, what I find is interesting to me is, and I say this in my head, Bobby going to get sick of hearing it because I have to say these. I'm not smart, so I say things over and over and over. God's good and pleasing thoughts about me are innumerable. They outnumber the grains of sand. So at night, I would look at myself and I say that God's good and pleasing thoughts about me are innumerable. It doesn't say with a disclaimer on that, when I do this correctly, when I do this correctly, when I do this correctly, no, it says his good and pleasing thoughts about me are innumerable. They outnumber grains of sand. If I took an evaluation of what Jeff's good and pleasing thoughts about myself on a particular day, they are very numerable at best. I would go, you know what? I didn't really have a whole lot of good thoughts about Jeff today. Why? I'm going, because I can see, and even like Paul, you said, I've learned how to do it when I have a lot, when I have a little, it's not, okay, even Paul, like it'd be neat if there was a Bible verse that would kind of align us with that. That was sarcasm, because there is. It says, I know how to make it through whether I have a lot or whether I have none. And it's not athletic poster 101, I can do all things Christ Jesus who created me. It is that. Whether I have a lot, great. Whether I have nothing, whether I feel like everybody loves me or nobody loves me. The truth is still the same, that the power that keeps me going, the thing that is this grace that Christ himself came and he died that we may have life and life abundantly. And so I like this adventure, and it's a constant activity to keep going. I can find myself very easily going, Jeff, you're bad. Jeff, you're weak. Jeff, you're not this good enough of a leader of this. You're going to mess up here all the time.
Same.
It's everybody. It's not a place that you just finally get to and you're like, whew, I'm finally made it here, and now I don't have to be life. It doesn't go away.
You have to remember you're constantly growing. There's not a point that I've gotten to where I'm like, yep, I'm living this great life now. Everything's great. I've got this great perspective. Everything's going to be wonderful. It's a constant process of, making sure my mindset is in check, making sure I'm, trying to look at things in a different light. I have to remind myself all the time. Love all the little reminders. And I don't know if my brain has got me there, or God has got me leaning in that direction, but I feel like I'm constantly being reminded from little things. I may see something or hear something or read something. I'm like, yep, that's a little reminder to me of, be gentle to myself, or whatever it is, whatever I'm needing to be reminded of. I think that's really important. So
agreed. And so me, what I have, so I'm very visual in my learning style.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I see things. Okay. And so they remind me of things, or they teach me things, and I put in front of me, like Bobby has to look at it in my desk, where I have to look at all the time.
Yeah.
Little visual reminders of seasons.
Yeah.
And then that remind me of the moment I'm in now. I have a little shelf in my office that I look at every day. That's my shelf of death. Okay. So all the things that I have a frame of death, which is all my reminders of my life, are in that. I look at it constantly. On the shelf are different moments of seasons. Some I didn't like as much, and some I did, but they are part of me.
So true. Yeah. I mean, that's why I love to look back. You hear sometimes people say, you don't ever want to look back. Don't look back in the rearview mirror. I say, look back in the rearview mirror.
It's crap
Absolutely.
Not to.
Yeah, but you have to look back in that rearview mirror with a better perspective.
That's right.
You have to look back with a better mindset, because I love to look back at my past and all the crappy things. I mean, I will revisit a lot of really hard things in my life.
Okay.
But to me, that's a reminder. I survived that. I'm okay. That was really hard. It was a really rough season, or whatever happened, and it was hard. And sometimes, like I even said, I could cry. If we start talking about certain things, I may still even cry over it. I think more I almost cry for, I can put myself in her shoes, and remember 17-year-old Laura and what she was going through, 14-year-old Laura and what she was going through. I can kind of put myself there, and that's what probably brings up the tears. And there's a lot of emotion there. It's not like anything that I've just said, look at me, I'm healed, everything's absolutely wonderful in my mind and everything. It's kind of like the fear-based thing too. I get a lot of people that say, not to go back to the road trip real quick, but just kind of as an example, aren't you scared going on the road? You're so fearless. And no, I'm not. I am not fearless at all. I just face my fear, and I push past that fear every time I take off. I'm scared to death before I go on a road trip by myself every single time.
Okay.
But I go.
That's right.
So like with my life too, I look back and I look at other things. I don't know. I love to I challenge myself to kind of face fears, or I will look back on certain things and remind myself of, look, I made it through this season. Look at what I'm upset over now, but look at what I've made it through. Look at what God has pulled me out of and where I am now. Amazing.
Agreed. So like that, some of the stuff that I have gotten to experience, climbing a mountain. Okay. So done some big mountains, whatever, doesn't matter. Okay. And the people go, oh man, golly, you're very juvenile. You're very brave. Oh, I was scared crapless.
Yeah.
Okay. Like this. Well, then why did you do that?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to meet me.
Yes. Yes.
I wanted to be introduced to Jeff and see who he really was.
Yeah.
And so like that, so then they would go, why do you, okay, like for me, maybe you would understand. Nobody would, okay, I think maybe we're kindred spirits on this. I don't go to a mountain. I don't choose to go climb a mountain. A mountain whispers my name and calls me to it, because it has something that either I need to leave on the mountain, or it needs to give me a gift while I'm there and let me meet something of me. Okay, so like I'm going to go climb this. No, I haven't had a whisper of a mountain in a little bit because I've been scared. I met parts of me on the last mountain that really, really scared me to no ends.
Yeah.
Okay, so like similar but different.
Yeah.
On the last mountain in Bolivia, coming down, it was so horrible and miserable. I was by myself, all alone, didn't speak the language, and I reached a point that I said, well, my Spanish is terrible. This is all I knew how to say. Es no más es aquí, es todo. Here is what I thought I said in my head, and I know that I said, here is where the journey ends.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, no. I said, es movido, es no problema. no mas.
Yeah.
I'm ready to die right here, and I'm fine with it. Leave me.
Yeah. Oof.
I was done. Like, I couldn't go anymore. I was done, and I didn't want to go anymore. And that was that. Then we sat there for a minute. We don't speak any language, and I was satisfied. I took the ropes off, and I was going to stay there in deep, deep snow and let night come. And I'm embarrassed to say I was done.
No. So what was that turning point?
You know what? There was no turning point other than the fact that the guy, probably because he didn't want to not get his tip for getting me on the mountain, he started dragging me and put the rope back around me. He started dragging me, and he made it, because I was about 3 times his size, because Bolivian mountain guides are little.
Yeah.
And after about, 10 minutes of this, I'm like, I'm not letting this dude drag me, because we're going to end up killing both of us.
Yeah.
So then I got up, and I'm like, no reason. I didn't really want to go on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It was simply, I'm not going to allow my death to cause the death of him as well.
You talking about that makes me think of Feed My Sheep.
Well, agreed.
Where so many people, I'm sure, are ready to give up.
That's right.
And you guys are here saying, no, you're not. You're not going to give up.
That's it.
And in different ways, I think a lot of people just need people just to show up.
That's it.
Just to be there.
Yeah.
So you guys are not only there, you're also providing all these services for them, and you're feeding them, and you're loving them, and you're talking to them, calling them by name, and just being there for these people when they're at that moment where you were on that mountain.
That's right.
You need community and people.
Okay.
So that's another thing, is finding the right.
100%. So then out of that, okay, simply, and I would agree, okay, so like this, they would go, there must have been some heroic turn within Jeff's life. Absolutely not. That it was this single individual.
Yeah.
He just refused to let me lay at that moment. Whether his motives or not were pure or not, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But he said, at this moment, I am not going to let you die here.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But if you are, we're going to do it together.
Yep.
And so he did that. You would say, out of that, if there was not somebody else with me on the mountain,
Yeah.
we ain't having this conversation right now.
Yeah.
Community and belonging, having others in that dark moment
Mm-hmm.
that don't, you know what? And what he would have helped zero is if he'd have said, well, he couldn't speak my language, but if he could have, if he'd have said, oh, Jeff, you should have trained more. You came up here. I knew it from the start that you weren't in the shape to get there and back. And I'd have gone, well, that's helping me zero now.
Yeah.
Or you deserve this.
Yeah.
Okay, because this is what you got. You made the decision. You got here, and this is exactly the ramifications for your decisions. Would that have helped me any?
No.
No.
And that's the same with, say, all the people that are here. No one knows their story unless you take the time to listen to their story.
That's right.
And just like I say, there's certain things in my past where I know that I made the decision or I put myself in this situation. Who knows the backstory on why I ended up in that situation? I may have made that decision right then, but who knows my mindset or the things that I had been through before. So the same thing with all these people, whether it was them growing up, whether it was drugs, whether it was mental health. I know a lot of it is either drugs or mental health or something gets a grasp on people or their family or the church or whatever it is. Whatever these people have been through, no one knows their story unless you actually sit down and really hear their story.
That's right.
Then you don't know what people are facing. And then if you're just like, well, I'm just going to give up on you because look, you're the one making the decision. You're the one that keeps taking the drugs, or you're the one that keeps, you keep making this stupid decision and doing this for yourself. It's not just like a quick life change. If somebody's addicted to drugs, they can't just be like, okay, I'm stopping.
Yep.
It doesn't work that way. So like something gets a hold of their life and a hold of their mind and a hold of their heart and a hold of everything about them. And then it's a slow process to change. And that's where we need our community to just not give up on us, because it's huge.
That's right.
Because if everybody around you is giving up on you, then you're like, okay, well, then I'm going to give up on myself.
Agreed.
because I can't even find anybody to love me.
Or
I can't even find anybody that doesn't, even whether that guy was dragging you along because he still wanted his tip or what, he didn't give up on you.
That's right.
And even if maybe some people don't have the best motive, and I feel like, yeah, I've come across people that probably didn't have the best motive, but they didn't give up on me.
That's right.
And to me, that meant, I don't care. I don't even care what their motive was. As long as it wasn't for them to hurt me.
Well, agreed.
Whatever it was, they didn't give up on me. So they see me as a person. They see me as a life that matters. And to know that I'm valued by someone makes a difference.
It matters.
Yeah.
And then like that, so, if you would add, I'm learning more and more and more, the more I do this world here, the more I understand what we're talking about here is the number one thing we must be providing. Jackets, good. Okay, that's great. That's a byproduct. Food, good. Yeah. Laundry, good. All of these things, they're good. And I'm not saying that they're good.
Yeah.
The number one thing we provide is this community that somebody is not alone in these dark, dark moments.
Yeah.
Okay, because we've been to these places. Every person has been to a very dark place, whether they acknowledge it or not. I don't care what your life has been. It has been difficult. But that you've got somebody. Because I would say the number one thing that people that we work with here is lack of community or belonging.
Yes.
They feel families giving up on them. Mm-hmm. Whatever, significant other, the spouse or this or that. A lot of our people have made decisions that have ramifications. Mm-hmm. Don't have my kids anymore. Mm-hmm. Don't have my family anymore. Don't have all of these things where it's really easy for somebody who's not there to go, you deserve everything that you've got, and sit right there and go ahead and die alone. No.
Yeah. It's understandable. I've dealt with people in my life that really struggle with mental health. I've dealt with people that struggle with drugs, a bunch of different things. And I also understand where these other people, whether it's family or friends, at some point have to set a boundary for them as well. Mm-hmm. So I do see that side of things too. Like if you've got a family member that is a drug addict and really struggling with drugs, eventually it's not maybe them not loving you anymore, but that's them kind of protecting themselves, saying, hey, I've got to step back. Mm-hmm. But then that's where other people can step in and help, because these people also then have to protect themselves, right? It can be a domino effect when you're dealing with mental health, when you're dealing with drug and addiction or anything like that, any kind of addiction. So they have to protect themselves too. But then that's where the community steps in, and then you've got, someone else, a stranger or a thing. Because my biggest thing I've always said is I share a lot about my story openly these days, whether it's talking with friends or on social media or whatever it is I'm sharing or how I'm sharing. And my biggest reason I say I like to share it, of course, it's healing to me to be able to look back and talk about these things. But also because I just don't want people to feel alone. Agreed. It breaks my heart to think that people feel alone whatever battle they're facing. Mm-hmm. Because when I was younger, I felt extremely alone. And that was probably one of the bigger reasons why I stayed in that season for so long, is because I just felt no one understands. Mm. No one's going to understand. Just starting with being a teen mom and being in my church. They don't know. They're not teen moms. They kind of are pushing me at, they don't want me in the church. They're embarrassed of me or whatever. Right. Just starting at something little to, I don't want to step back into the church when I get older, because none of them have faced what I've faced.
That's right.
Barely. And I just felt lonely. So I have this almost like hyper focus of, I just don't want people to feel alone. I don't want somebody to feel alone. So if I can share my story and say, hey, I was in a relationship where I was physically abused. And and I'll share my story. To me, it's, again, sharing it for a couple different reasons. But one of the big reasons is if I can openly and vulnerably share that story, it's scary to share things like that openly, right? Somebody's going to judge me. Somebody's going to whatever. But sharing those things, I love, because I know that I'm opening that up, and somebody's who may not share, they may never share it, or it may get them to share, whatever it is, for them to go. Whoever's maybe in a domestic violence situation right now, or has been in the past and it's still hurting them, whatever it is, for them just to go, okay, I'm not alone. Like that is the greatest feeling, is to not feel alone in your struggles or in whatever happened to you. And I feel like I'll live the rest of my life just trying to make people not feel alone.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I tell you, along that, and that's spot on. We didn't even know we were going to talk about that. And if you were going to say, hey, we want to have a vision discussion of what Feed My Sheep must be about, this is what this is.
Yeah.
It must be this. Like the other stuff we do, they're byproducts. We'll figure out how to serve meals the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. We'll figure out how to do laundry.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. We'll figure out transportation. How can we make sure a world that is so lonely and lost know that they are not that? And then that there are people that care. And then because you can't possibly ever make the step until you realize that, to know even more than that, there is a God that will never let you be alone.
Yeah.
If you don't see it somewhere, you're going to go, no, there ain't no God that cares about me.
Yeah.
Because nobody else does. And why? And I don't care about myself.
Yeah.
So then why would God care about me?
Yeah.
You go, no.
Seeing God through other people.
That's right.
Us being his hands and feet. Seeing the work of other people. And then, just seeing God through people's actions and
just
loving on them. Yeah. And like you said, like with the, anybody can cook a meal. Anybody can do a load of laundry. But the real work is the sitting down and the talking and the communicating and making someone feel like a person and being there for them, which I know, again, is what you guys do. That's huge, because that makes them not feel alone. If you do someone's laundry, they're still going to feel alone.
That's right.
If you're providing them a meal, okay, you provided them a meal. They're still alone. They're still going to walk away alone with that meal. But if you look at them in their eyes and you're like, hey, Jeff, how are you today? Whatever it is, even just that communication of looking at someone in the eyes or smiling at them, or a simple smile. I mean, I could have a really, really bad day and have someone walk by me and just look at me and smile and wave, and instantly I kind of don't feel alone. I mean, there are some very simple things, but then you get down to kind of the deeper stuff. Like I said, there's.
It's funny, just that we're doing a podcast. We're talking about all kind of stuff. Okay, we're in the middle of a conversation, and then you looked at me and you said, you were doing this at point of reference. Jeff, how are you today?
Yeah.
You know what I did? My heart skipped half a beat, and I took a short breath going, oh, crap.
Yeah.
She really wants to know how I am today. But it's that powerful.
Yeah.
A true ask of, how are you?
Yeah.
And I'm here with you. I am not the answer to everything at all, and like that. I'll tell you, here's a story that I saw yesterday. It's whole different, but it's the same. I won't say any names because I won't embarrass anybody. We had a person that came in, and he was frustrated, or this person was frustrated because they had not received a mail delivery that they thought they should have gotten. Mm-hmm. Okay, and we're trying to articulate that you didn't have a mailbox here. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we were going down this path of this and getting very frustrated, because so you could tell something was going on. And he had mailed it, and he said to me, this person, well, I know my mother mailed me my birthday present, and y'all didn't get it to me. Okay, so, hey, do you happen to know how we could get a hold of your mom? Mm. And let's check, because if I lost your birthday present, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so he did know his mom's phone number, and we call her, and she is in whole other state in the Northeast.
Yeah.
And I say, hey, so-and-so, I am here with, I think, your son. Mm-hmm. And here's who I am. I'm at Feed My Sheep and blah, blah, blah. She doesn't even know, and okay, whatever. Mm-hmm. And your son would like to ask you about this package that you mailed for his birthday.
Yeah.
And the mom was ecstatic because she hasn't heard from her son.
I know, it hurts my heart.
Yeah, it does. So this, you can hear the story and you can feel the hurt, okay? And here's the guy, he's still mad, okay? Because his package ain't here.
Yeah.
Okay? Hey, and so it's so good to hear from you. I'm so glad, okay? And so we're trying to, because he's having a frustrating mental moment.
Yeah.
Okay. At this time. So trying to nicely articulate to the mom, we're watching after your son and he's all right at the moment, but not overstepping because he's a grown man.
Yeah.
And to go, so all that to get to, he says, I remember this, his birthday's October 5th. Okay. I know you mailed my birthday package to me and these people won't get it to me. Mom says, and he says, I want you to tell, because we're on speakerphone, tell them what address you mailed it to so they have to give it to me. And then she says this sentence. She says, well, I don't have an address to mail it to you.
Yeah.
Meaning, I didn't mail you a birthday present. So then he didn't really want to hear that answer, and it wasn't quite, but you go, okay, makes sense. And then he says, then there was different other relation stuff. And then out of that, then you hear, and you're not even going to believe this, so-and-so, another individual, they won't even let me see he has a child of his own on my birthday. So then you're going, okay, here's what's going on. There's no but the package he was supposed to get on his birthday from his mom, and he wasn't able to go see his mother, all these things colliding at this moment, and you're going, I'd be pretty pissed off and alone too.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting here and need to yell at Jeff for a little bit, that's fine. That place in that moment, not saying we scored a home run with that, and out of that, that he walked out of there going, oh, life is great now. And no, we didn't leave that moment of that. And then out of that, I'll still, like last night, he was not terribly happy. And his mom said 3 times at the end of the conversation, you know how much I love you, so-and-so. Long pause. I didn't like the pause too much. And I was like, I want you to know, I do know her name, I'm not going to say it. I want you to know he has a permanent address here that has a key that can be locked.
Yeah.
You can mail him stuff here. I will make sure he gets anything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's so great to hear that. I'm so appreciative of that. It's good to know. So-and-so, you know how much I love you and I would do anything for you. Again, awkward, quiet, pause. And then, okay, bye. I love you. Phone call done. Okay. But out of that, did we solve anything? No. Was he alone? Absolutely, he's alone.
It sounds like that's all he can focus on.
Agreed.
Yeah, which is hard. One big thing I also understand, and this is kind of going off something different too, but, when I say focus on your perspective and, change your mindset and do all these things, I also understand because I have dealt with it. Some really close people to me have fought mental health issues, major mental health issues. And I also understand that if you're struggling with mental health, you can't just, I can shift my mindset.
Right.
In mental health, it doesn't mean that this is a horrible thing about you. It means that you may have to look at things differently or approach things differently or, get on some medication or you're going to face things differently. I do understand that there's that grace for people who have the mental health issues that can't, that are battling depression or anxiety or whatever it is, where they can't just say, okay, I'm going to focus on the good things. Okay, I'm going to, do this. Because no matter what, they're going to something in their mind is going to constantly bring up these horrible things and beat them up about it. So I do understand. But then that goes back to also kind of giving grace to other people. The more we understand people, the more we understand mental health, the more we understand addiction, the more we understand that we're just humans just trying to survive in this world together. the more we understand that, and, we can give more grace to people, and then kind of understand maybe that guy's mindset of he's really super focused on this, but then his poor mom is probably just absolutely heartbroken.
Right.
But out of that phone call, some great things happened because she got to hear her son's voice.
That's right.
Who knows how long it's been since she's heard from him. Some really great things came from that, which you and I may be able to see that. He may still not be able to see that, and hopefully one day he can.
Right.
But depending on where he is mentally, depending on where his mind is at the moment, he may not even be able to grasp any of that good stuff. But you being there and you guys continually showing up for him, hopefully one day, or getting him help or whatever it is that he needs, either a mindset shift or help or mental health help, whatever it is, that can eventually kind of help him. But
agreed. That. And I've been through different chapters or seasons. I don't know. I would say chapters, that things were pretty tough. Like life wasn't going the way I would have liked. And in the midst of that, so I would view myself as decently intelligent and trying to figure out how to navigate this and having enough self-recognition to realize I'm not well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So at least that clarity of going, I'm not all right.
And not everybody has that.
Okay. Agreed. Yeah. So I'm not a step above, but in that moment to at least like me, everything's a metaphor to backpacking, but the first thing you do if you're backpacking, or anything, if you're survival 101, okay, survival 101, the minute you realize you are, or even think I am lost, the first thing you do is you stop. You stop moving, you stop going, and you just take a break and really assess where you are, but you stop.
Yeah.
Okay. And the minute you realize you're lost, because you are not getting yourself unlost. If you are lost, it doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So generally, you look at all these people that, they're lost on a backpacking trail. They're going to find them dead within short order of not too far from where they were, because they're going to walk in a giant circle and end up, we don't orient. So mine is that recognition of being able to say, crap, I don't have a clue of where the fog is too thick. I don't really know. And to stop for a second and call out for help. So like in the woods, you would do 3 whistles on a loud thing, and anybody who's backpacking would hear 3 whistles because it travels a long way. Somebody's in a mess over there. It doesn't matter where you're at. Then you would blow 1 whistle to let that person know, I have heard your call. And then the person who knows where they are will try to find the one who's blowing 3. So you'd hear 1 whistle, and then the 3rd whistle would call over here, and you know how to orient to go to that, and you blow and let this person know.
Yeah. Somebody's
coming.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you keep moving, nobody can find you if you're not putting out calls. Okay. So that self-recognition of when I'm lost, I can't get myself solely out of this spot on my own. I need help is not a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
At all. Okay. And so out of that, so then you go, okay. So in those moments where you go, okay, man, I am lost and I'm trying to figure things out, and I don't really know. I used to, and it still does. It drove me crazy in that chapter, and it was well-intended and good meaning. People that cared about me, they would say sentences that were good. They would say, Jeff, just find what makes you happy and go do those things. And in the midst of the fog and the chaos, I was like, what the F?
Yeah.
Don't you think if I could figure out what made me happy right now, don't you think I would be doing it?
Yeah. Yeah.
That is the most absurd sentence I've ever heard. And how dare you say that to me at this moment?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'd be like, you got to be stinking kidding me.
Yep.
Go do something that's going to make me happy. If it was that simple in life, then there would not be a sad person walking around everywhere, because everybody's going to do what? No, it's not that simple.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't asking for somebody to say, hey, do this and you're going to be happy. Figure out what makes you happy and go do it. Hey, we're not saying that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying is somebody to say, I don't have a clue, but guess what? I'm not going to let you sit here alone. We're together.
Yeah. Yeah. At that community,
community.
And for us too, if there's a way to be proactive, just like we were saying with the, me knowing I'm going into the empty nest season, but just to kind of be proactive. If you know that you're struggling with mental health struggles, you know that you have a hard time with certain things, when you're in that good season, to stay consistent with whatever it is that's going to help you to hopefully kind of be proactive, to not bring you back down into that cloud.
Agreed.
That you get into, where when it's been described to me as kind of, you get into this place and it doesn't matter what anybody says, whatever happens around you, it doesn't matter. Whether something great is continually happening around you, when you're in this depressive state, nothing's going to change it.
That's right.
Nothing's going to change it in that moment. And I don't even know what brings them out of it. But in that moment, I mean, I could be like, hey, come on, get up, go for a walk outside. It's going to be great. When they're there, they're there. So maybe even kind of, being proactive and kind of helping, but also
Agreed.
maybe even being proactive by having the right community to be able to recognize when you're having that hard time, to kind of say, hey, I'm going to drag him out here.
That's right.
Or I'm going to show up and I'm just going to sit. I'm just going to sit with him.
That's right.
Whatever it is. Yeah. I mean, but again, even there are some people that are just so far into that place and have been in that place for years, which is probably a lot of the people that you guys work with here at Feed My Sheep. It's different, because they could be in this valley for 10, 20 years.
Long time.
Yeah, it's for a very long time. That's all they know. This is where they're comfortable, or they're so far down in there that you're not going to even get that one good point to say, hey, let's be consistent. Let's find whatever's working for you and try to kind of work with that. You may not even be able to get there to that place, but you know what? You can still love them, because somewhere in there is still a person.
Well, agreed.
Yeah.
And like we look and we're going all over the place.
We are.
Yeah.
This is a normal conversation with me.
This is like I was thinking, this makes complete sense to me. Like, this is how everyone.
I hope anyone can keep up, because I do. I will go from like here to here to here to here to here.
But this is very linear. This is normal. And I'm trying to even think.
I love that we're keeping up with.
Well, like the path, because there's two different ways. Because like we've said several different things. As some of this is, if I'm heading off on a journey, if you're going out in your van, so there's two parts of what we just said there. If you're going out in your van for a great expedition and it runs out of gas, that's on you, because you needed to put gas in before you even started the trip.
Yes.
You need to, before you start on some of these journeys,
yes,
we can get ourselves in messes because we didn't go with the proper tools that we needed to have before we even set off. So like if Jeff said, hey, I'm going to go backpacking in Bolivia. Okay. A, you better have a backpack. B, you better make sure it's packed with everything you possibly can need and double check it. You better have all the equipment in place before you even take off on this thing, because that's a big thing you're heading into. So sometimes we end up in places because Jeff just took off into the woods and didn't even know where he was. And, it was so cute. No, you didn't have all the tools and all of this stuff. But when you end up in these places, irregardless, okay, it's the last thing you want is for somebody to come along and going, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
I know I'm lost. I know I shouldn't have got here. I don't need to hear that right now.
Yeah.
Okay. And to go, let's just figure this out. And the other thing that's intriguing to me is I found, and because you and I are probably similar in outdoors, is where, I got a good, somebody sent me one that I think you would like, that's up on my wall, about why the wilderness is such a magnificent place for some to go find God.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so like, it's an ancient Jewish proverb, but the son tells his father, and the son is like, I go to the wilderness to find God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the father's like, but son, God is the same in the wilderness, and he's in our house, and he's in all these places. You don't have to go to the wilderness to find God. He's not different there than he is here.
Yeah.
And the son says, no, God is the same everywhere, but in the wilderness, I am different.
Yes.
And I'm like, bingo.
Love that.
I'm like, that's exactly it. I go, but God, I'm not saying God is different.
Yeah.
But I am. And I can go find him there because I'm different. But what I like in all this, so I've always, my life is, even though it is with a whole lot of people, then there's a whole lot of quiet as well. Like people, and then I got to go.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get away.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I go off into the woods or some form of that where there's nobody around. It's just me.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just, I go and then I find some peace and I come back. But it's always been that way. And so life, but for me, what's been interesting is a compass.
Mm-hmm.
Always, never, ever, 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 ever would I go in a boat, would I go hunting, would I go anything. I don't even trust GPS because the batteries can go out. Compass is true. Okay, if you got a compass that works, it's going to tell you which way is north. It's going to tell you which way is south. It's going to tell you east and west.
Yeah.
Okay, it is true.
Yeah.
Okay, what's amazing to me, I remember I was 14-year-old boy in Lake Charles, Louisiana, yes, my parents were goofy enough. I had a boat, and I was out in the bay, out by the Gulf. Okay, that's what you do. I mean, I knew this lake. I knew this lake it was salt water, so it was a bay in Texas, but in Louisiana it would be a lake. Okay, so I was out there and I was fishing. I knew this area. And a big fog storm came in, and I couldn't see anything. And so all these things that I had used to navigate, I didn't have anymore. But I was like, I know where I'm going. So I went, and next thing I know, there was land where there wasn't supposed to be land. Somehow land had got itself in the wrong place in my mind, but it didn't get itself in the wrong place. I was lost. And all of a sudden I'm like, crud, I don't know where it was. And you know what I did? At that moment, I took out the compass and I looked at it because I know I needed to head southeast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, southeast. If I did that, that would put me to the shore, and then it would get me to the boat ramp across this big lake. And I look on the compass, and my compass was broken because it was showing southeast to be the exact wrong direction that it was supposed to be. So I'm like, oh, a stinking compass broke, of all luck. Now I'm stuck in a fog. My compass is broken. So I didn't trust the compass. And you know what? I knew, I was so sure that southeast was the exact opposite direction the compass was telling me, that I kept going north because I knew that's where southeast was.
Oh.
Okay. Now, all of that, everybody can listen and you would know the compass was never broken.
Yeah.
It was telling me the true direction I should go and where safety and protection was. And still yet, I chose not to go that direction.
Sounds familiar.
It does.
Yeah.
At Life 101,
Yeah.
When things get the most foggy and the most dark, the number one human tendency
Mm-hmm.
is to go, no.
Yeah.
Everything else is wrong. I am 100% right on this, and I'm going to continue this direction because I know it's so right.
Yeah.
Okay? And so I was wrong. Life. I am lost. The number one thing I want to do, I'm going to pick up pace, and I'm going to keep walking in the direction I'm 100% sure is right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Uh-huh.
And what we're supposed to do on those is either, A, if you brought a compass, which luckily for us in life, we have this compass, which is, it always, always, always points to true north. It is never wrong. And that is the Bible, and that is life.
Mm-hmm.
But when things go bad for me, or I don't like where I'm at, I guarantee I'm going, look at this.
Mm-hmm.
It's telling me to go the wrong direction. This is not even right.
I know better.
I know better. And so I'm going to keep going because this thing is off. I'm not even going to look at it for a bit because and then we keep going. And then when we're lost, we want to keep going even faster in a direction because we know all the answers. In reality, God's saying, stop for a second. Stop.
Mm-hmm.
Stop and listen. And there's help right there. And you blow the whistle and you go, okay, I admit it. Okay, I'm not the great woodsman. I don't know where I am. And like even today, smaller scale, my son works at the Capitol in Texas. Okay, he's good at city. I'm not real good at city. And I end up on the street. I don't even know. I couldn't find parking. And so I'm texting him, and he didn't do anything wrong. And so I'm frustrated. He's like, where are you? And I'm like, I could see the Capitol. And so I don't know streets. I should look at streets. And I'm like, he's like, what street are you on? I don't know. Okay, I'm in Austin. And he said, where are you? I said, I'm on the west side of the Capitol.
Yeah.
Because the sun's on the other side of it. I know we're in the morning. And he's like, how did you get on the west side of the Capitol? I don't know, but I know that's where I am.
Yeah.
Because I can see this thing and it tells me.
Yeah.
And he says, don't move. I'll come get you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're sure you're on the west side of the Capitol? And I'm like, yes, there is. The sun's on the other side. It's in the morning. I know I'm on the west. And there's some people doing some construction over here. Said, stay by the construction.
Me?
Yeah. And I waited and he came and I'm going, it's this.
Yeah.
You know what? The minute somebody else came, okay, I was no longer lost. I wasn't found where I needed to go.
Yeah.
Both of us, I'm like, okay. He's like, where do you need to go? And I'm like, it's E something office. And he's like, oh, that's on the far other side. I think we need to go down. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, let's go.
When you're talking about your story in Louisiana, reminded me of you getting so lost and then not trusting the compass that you had. But just kind of the thing that kept popping in my head was no matter how far you would have gone in that wrong direction, it's never too late for you to turn back around.
That's right.
And go in the right direction and follow the compass in the right way. Because I just think that's another big reminder for us of a lot of times people get moving in their own direction because they're trusting their own mind, or they're trusting, this compass is broken. I'm not trusting that, whatever it is, whatever it's taking them, or you're driving off into the wrong direction, whatever it is, you steer off in the wrong direction. And no matter how far you go in that direction, God is always there waiting and ready to help you turn back and go.
That's right.
The other direction.
Yep.
So,
it's absurd. Like in it,
Yeah.
Is the compass going to go, guess what? I ain't going to work for Jeff anymore because he didn't trust me. I'm going to show him a lesson.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
compass its single job is to point in the right direction.
When we're ready to trust it.
When we're ready to trust it.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
And so you go on that, it is always true.
Yeah.
I'm just not always ready to believe its truthfulness.
That is very true.
And so, but in that, what is beautiful on it is no matter how far I walk, no matter how far I go in the wrong direction, the compass is still always going to point me the right way.
Yeah.
Maybe I got a long boat ride back. Maybe I'm paddling for a long way, but it is not going to leave me there. That's
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And so, golly, okay, I'm going to tell everybody because we're about near the end. We're going to definitely, so I'm going to tell you this.
Yeah.
This cannot be the only discussion we have on this. We've got it because we didn't even go into where we were going to go. We didn't even get any, because what we were going to do, like out of this, I will tell you, Laura and I, one of our connection points was, this is, what do you think, 3 years ago? Ish.
Gosh, I don't remember.
3, 4, something.
Maybe.
It's been a piece ago. There was a young lady here. I won't say her name because I don't want to embarrass anybody, whatever. Young lady here. We're not even going to go in detail on this, but this is how our conversation is. This young lady, I knew that she was 13 years old.
Mm-hmm.
For a fact. Because long-term trying to get, and she was getting trafficked here.
Mm-hmm.
I had a guy that was working her 13 stinking years old, getting worked, and she would come through the line, normal stuff of the guy wouldn't let her talk to anybody. He wouldn't come in himself. He'd stay across the street, all that. I couldn't get anybody to help. Like nobody would interject in the story, and couldn't find nobody, and finally I remembered Laura because she had been in this world working with ladies that had been sex trafficked, and I somehow found her number. And said, man, anything you can do to help me with this one. And she wasn't in that world per se in that way at that moment.
Yeah.
But that's how we kind of had met. Her number stayed up on my dry erase board for a long, long time. I'm visual. It's at the bottom right corner, where I can see it now in my head. And it said Laura, and it had her number there. And that one, like that young lady, we did find somebody to interject in her story at that time.
Yeah.
But that's kind of and honestly, for all of y'all out there, that was the context that I believed we were going to talk about. I said, we can't not start with how we kind of got connected again, which was so-and-so and that story there. And it was a terribly sad one. And we have many of those. This one, not more intriguing. Didn't even know we were going to talk about, because everybody, the commonality we have out there.
Yeah.
Even in this room, like I can look around and go, all of us are in all kind of different seasons, and some of us may think it's the greatest thing ever, and some of it's the worst thing ever, and some of it's bad, and some of it's good, and some of us have caused ourselves to be here, and some of us want to blame everybody else for why we're here, and all of these different things, but we're here.
Yeah.
We're here.
Yeah.
And we've got a choice in all of these seasons, all of these moments, no matter how lost we are, is what's our response?
Yes. You have a choice.
That's right.
Just like how, we won't go deep into it because I know we're running out of time, but just like how I got involved in helping with domestic minor trafficking for a long time. I've been out of it for quite a while. But I was kind of head first in volunteering in the stuff that I was doing, to where it almost kind of consumed my life, because how can you turn away from something like that, knowing that that's happening to people? But I was never trafficked. I've been around some really bad people, and I've been in some bad situations, and I've had some things happen to me when I was younger, but so I was like to clarify, I was not trafficked, but my heart is there for females that are being abused or have been abused in some way. And so that goes back to our past and maybe the valleys that I've been in my life. I can either choose to hang on to those and just have that victim mindset. I hate to say that, because I know a lot of people sit in that victim mindset, and that's where their head is. You have to get out of that mindset. To me, looking back on my past and looking back on the things that happened to me, I could definitely sit in a victim mindset by the things that have happened. But I'm not going to, because I'm not gonna let that control my life. The things that have happened to me do not control my life. They do not define me. But my reaction to them now, right? Of course, yes, I reacted very differently, not in a good way when everything was happening. Of course, that's the natural thing. I'm not just going to go, oh, that happened to me yesterday. I'm going to be fine and fight through this. It doesn't quite work like that. It took a very long time to get there. I mean, it took me like probably decades to get there. But being able to go back and look at my story and say, okay, now God is using my story, to be able to help other people. Not everybody's going to do that. Not everybody's going to be as open as I am about some things and vulnerable and talking about, just even the things that I share on social media. I'm sure some people are like, oh my gosh, why is she saying that? Why is she sharing that story? But to me, it's, again, it's healing. I don't want people to feel alone, but it's the, hey, I get to use my story for something good. Yeah. And whether it brings into something bigger, like I was so focused on helping fight against this minor trafficking, for kids, that's where God led me to serve and help in that way, because of the things that I went through when I was younger and some of the things that I saw when I was younger. So that's, again, kind of twisting. I get to create my future. I get to, by my mindset, again, I can sit in that victim mentality of, man, these things happen to me, and that's why I'm having a hard time, and that's why I'm mean to people, or that's why I'm still being this way. Because I struggle sometimes dealing with people that kind of do have that victim mentality, because I'm like, hey, we've all been through crap. Like I maybe haven't, and there are some things in my story that I will never share with anybody. I'm just not going to share.
That's right.
But there's a lot that I do share. So, with everybody, we all may hear little pieces of people's stories, whatever we feel like sharing, right? So in these hard things that I've been through, yeah, I could sit and just wallow in, man, I've been through crap. I used to tell people when I was younger, I think one of my friends was kind of joking about it recently. She's like, you used to say, I used to tell my friends, I'm just going to be in a straitjacket one day. There's no way. I swear I feel like it would be. Like, there's no way that I can have gone through the things that I went through and then be okay. Mm-hmm. But I am, because I'm not going to sit in that victim mindset. I'm not letting these things control me. I'm taking them and I'm taking power over them, and I'm not letting them take power over my life. And so I've created this beautiful life and this beautiful mindset with God's help. This isn't just me.
Yeah.
I needed a lot of work to get there, to have that mindset, to not feel like I wanted to take my life all the time, to not feel like, I was worthless or no one, I was unlovable. And look at me now. I'm 10 years on my own. I'm choosing to be single. I do not even date. I don't want to date. I'm happy in this place where I am right now, to where before I felt so unloved. I felt so unlovable because of the things that happened or whatever in my life. But now I feel so dang loved on my own. I go home to myself every night and I'm happy, and I know that I'm loved, and I don't question it. If I meet people in my life and you choose not to love me, okay, someone else is going to, right? Like, there's just these boundaries that I set, right? And I know that not everyone is going to love Laura. Not everyone is going to want to be my friend, and that's fine. So it's getting to that place. But like, you just have to get yourself out of that mindset, of that victim mindset. Because I know I'm bouncing around with all this like I do with everything, but I've come across a lot of people that are very like competitive, or I am the least competitive person.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not competitive at all.
Okay.
And I'm in a sales job, which is,
I would find that surprising.
I know, it's so weird. I'm definitely never going to be top in the company because I'm not competitive. I want to survive and happy. And I think my, finding things that make me happy are more important than chasing and making the most money. If my boss sometimes will say, hey, we've got this challenge and whoever does this is going to, get this or win this or get this bonus. And I'm like, y'all have fun. Because that's just not what drives me in this life. What drives me is knowing what I survived and just being able to work and provide for myself, but also maybe be there for other people and serve. Because I don't want people to feel, hurt or whatever. But I don't know. I just, again, going back to the mindset thing of, people have that victim mindset. I have come across people where they're, very mean or super competitive or whatever it is. And then people will say, well, they're that way because they went through a really hard time in life. Well, you still get to make the decision to say, I'm not going to let what I went through when I was younger, or now, what I went through now, or what I went through a year ago, or what I'm going through, whatever it is, control me. And I'm not going to use that as a crutch. I hate saying that because I'm not trying to sound insensitive. But where people will kind of hang on to that forever and hang on to that hurt and then just say, well, that's why I am the way I am. That's why I'm hardened, because you know what? People have always treated me like crap. No one has ever loved me. Everybody has always abandoned me. Everybody's always done these things to hurt me. So now that's just why I'm a jerk, and I'm just going to always be a jerk. I don't accept that in people at all. I think that, no, you've got to change your way. But I get it. Like, I totally get it. I'm hardened by my past, right? That
right.
Because of my past is a reason, why I choose to stay single. But it's, me staying single and being like the happiest I've ever been in my entire life is a good thing. It's not like I'm, beating down my waitress every time I go to a restaurant, belittling her or something like that. I'm just on my own and I'm happy, so leave me alone. But I don't know. I mean, I don't even know where I started with the whole victim mindset, but I think that's just huge. Just another reminder to people of.
Agreed.
You can take whatever it is that you're going through and do with it what you want, but it's your choice, and it's your choice to follow that compass that you were talking about. It's your choice to continue to be hard-headed and say, nope, I'm going to continue on in this direction and keep getting lost. Or you can eventually say, okay, I trust you, God.
That's it.
I'm going to turn around.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
and there's power
yeah.
in that. Like, for me, there's so much freedom in understanding an event plus our response determines the outcome. Like, it's not
Yeah.
victim mentality.
Yeah.
I had a part in the equation.
Yeah.
I may not have liked this event, but I responded, and I'm part of the answer. I'm part of the outcome. It's not like I don't have any control over this life deal.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's for me, and well, no, we're not, because that's a whole other.
I know.
Okay. Because mine is,
Extend this for an hour.
because like mine is life to me. I was in a different chapter, was a river guide, like did whitewater rafting.
My
guide.
gosh, that's like my dream.
Okay, and me too. I thought I was a kayak instructor and a river guide. Oh, so come on, whatever.
Thing. I'm quitting my job.
It's
That's what I'm doing.
But in it, what I learned on that, because it's sort of like, well, the river and real rivers. Like, so not, Texas has rivers,
Yeah.
but they're, agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, they just kind of meander.
Yeah.
But when you get up, like Colorado has some bigger, more powerful rivers, like Browns Canyon and such of this, like they get the Royal Gorge, big power.
Mm-hmm.
The river is in control. You do not control the river.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So every time, what I loved, and I've carried it in my life, is every time you step foot on guiding a boat. Okay. We had a launch part. And so every time we're at this, you knew how many CFI cubic feet per second that the river was flowing that day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is the force of the river.
Uh-huh.
And then you would know how to navigate. So we knew at all the rapids, and you would go, okay, hey, when you're going to such and such a rapid, make sure you go really hard to the left around such and such a rock. Okay. You had to thought that, okay, but in that, okay, I was in control, but I am not defeating the river. The river is taking me where it wants me to go. I'm just trying to navigate within the river.
Yeah.
It is the powerful force of life. And so like this, I've learned, okay, that the river is powerful.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's moments I can paddle against the current at certain different junctures and go against that, but I'm not going that way. It's going to take me where it's going to take me. And I love that. That's life to me, is I can control the strokes, and I know where I need to go, and I can navigate within that. And the better I do it, the more enjoyable the ride is. And the worse I do that and do not paddle when I need to paddle, I hit rocks, the boat flips over,
Yep.
all kind of bad things happen. It wasn't the river's fault.
Yep.
It wasn't the river's fault.
Yep.
And I can sit there when I'm in this river and it's freezing cold and I'm going down a rapid and I'm about to drown, okay? And it does me zero good to be sitting there whining about, why does this river have to be so cold and why does it have to be going so fast? It doesn't matter now.
Mm-hmm.
You're in it, okay? So you go like that. It's, what do you got to do? I got to get back in another boat. I got to find my boat again. We're going to flip it over. We're going to get back in and we're going to keep paddling.
If it's a new boat,
That's right.
it's okay.
And everybody,
Yeah.
and in that, the number one rule, if you were rafting, because you would go in pods of groups, so you'd have 3 or 4 together.
Yeah.
Okay, the best guy was in the back, and then if a boat flipped over, you didn't just sit there and go, oh. Everybody instantly changed course and go, we got to get everybody in a boat, and then worry about everything else from there.
Yeah.
You stop. Okay, and so that's life in general. So out of this, so all of this, like very similar mindset. Life is tough. Make no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So like, and we're not looking, but hopefully you're out there and you're going, you're in a great chapter. Great. Good.
Mhm.
You're in really, really darkness. Okay. Not so great, but to hear, you know what? You're not alone.
Yeah.
And that. And what's interesting to me, like as we've had this discussion, you have a similar mannerism that I do, is several times in some of the most difficult moments of the discussion,
Mm-hmm.
you always touch your left wrist.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I've got this on my left wrist. So like if this is my reminder of life.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if things are really going tough for me, I always will touch my left wrist because it is a reminder of things that have occurred, that various things, but it's a calming deal for me. And so I was like, every time you said something and you said, I talk about life.
That's funny. I didn't know I did that. Well, I have scars on my wrist where I tried to overdose myself on medication, and then I tried to slit my wrists. I have scars going in both directions because I even remember hearing, well, I think if I do it this way or this way. Yeah. And so recently I actually got these.
Well, that's our next discussion. I wonder what because I
just recently got it because to me, it's a reminder. This is me and my kids.
Okay. I thought
like, getting pregnant at 17 for one was extremely difficult. And again, that can be a whole different discussion. My son's dad ended up in a mental hospital when my son was 2 months old. I mean, it was a wild ride from that point forward. But these are my reminders. This is me and my kids. And just kind of, to me, it's like God's grace. It's a reminder of, this is when I wanted to give up in my life. And this was one of those days where I just did not want to live. And I wanted so bad to die. I just wanted to end it. I don't even remember how old I was. I think I was 15 at the time. I think I was 15, maybe 16.
Really?
And I remember doing that. And I remember taking all these pills, and I remember drinking, alcohol, just whatever I could. I couldn't get my hands on a gun. So I was trying everything else possible. And, these are just my reminder. I just got these like last year, just of my kids, of like, when you get in that moment of feeling like your whole world is falling apart. And I always thought, it's never going to get better. There's no way it's going to get better. No way. Because when you're in that valley, it's not like you can see the rainbow over there, like, oh, look, it's great.
Right.
You see that valley, and that's all you can see, or you're in that fog, or you're in that, whatever it is at the moment, that's all you can see is, this is my life, and this is really hard. And this is, I've got a newborn baby, all these things. This isn't when I did this. It was before I got pregnant with my son, but just that life gets better.
Mm.
And me having both of my kids and me, and even though it's just me and my kids again, life is great, and so it's my reminder, and I love it. Yeah. And like I said, I recently got it. So I'm doing a couple different things. I'm chasing things last year. And then this year I've got some other plans ahead too, of just, again, it's that constant growth. It's that constant working on ourselves. I'm going to face something in my life that I have not faced head on, someone in my life that caused most of this. So but it's a healing thing for me. And I'm in that place. I'm in that healthy space of being able to face this soon. So, I mean, it's just my reminder.
No, agreed. I saw that, and
that's funny. I've never noticed that I do that, but maybe I do.
You did it, like, only twice.
Yeah.
Because I do not all, just twice when you talked about being in dark. It was reassurance. You touched the same spot, and always over here just to kind of that. And I mean, same. I know what this means. I know if I touch that. This has been on since 2006.
I could tell.
But it's too small.
Quite a while.
It's now getting too small, and it's burned on there, and it can't come off. And it reminds.
It's your reminder,
that just I know what life is, but so interesting on that one. We're not going to go off in left field. Years ago, there's a young lady. I would say she has a band. Music Flyleaf is the name of the band. Okay, Lacey Carter was from this area. Okay, so a long time ago. She was here. I was a youth minister, so she was in that similar discussion. One of her songs, Red Sam, is the name of the song. Like if you'd listen to that, okay, so that song, it's a heavier, but we were talking, and that song is about she had decided that she didn't want to live anymore. And she had cut her wrist, and she was watching herself bleed out. And she was sitting there, and the comfort, as weird as that sounds, of feeling that and to knowing that the pain would quickly or shortly would end. And she was at least in control of that.
Yeah.
And that it made sense. And then she talked about, the song is about that she saw, she had a vision that Christ came to her. She knows that.
Oh, wow.
The song is about that. But just that moment, you're going, oh, my gosh, that we would reach that place. And there's many of us that that have been there. And so we are definitely, the next chapter will be, we'll discuss, because there's people that may want to hear, how do you navigate out of it? Because it's not yippee dippy, I'm done with this. It's, life is tough.
Yeah.
And it's just this, lack of a better term, is what you focus on is what you're going to see. If you want to focus and see the little tiny glimmers of Shawshank Redemption 101.
Yeah.
I mean, like that one. So you have two things. Is hope a good thing or is hope a bad thing? And that's always the struggle in that. Have you watched that movie?
No.
How are we having a rational conversation?
You know what, though? I could have watched it and forgot about it. That's how great my memory is.
Okay. I would encourage you. I think.
You want me to watch it?
I think
is that my homework?
I think you would enjoy it.
Okay.
It's different because it's this metaphor about life.
Yeah.
Like,
I love metaphors. Yeah.
Okay. But it's, I bet you I've seen it 300 times.
Okay.
I watch it over because you have two discussions. I'm not going to be that guy who ruins the movie, but
yeah. But let me tell you about this part.
But I'm not, like, it's just a struggle because we're kind of tiptoeing around it. A word they would use in there is hope, and then we would say perspective is like looking for positive things.
Yeah.
And one would go, oh, that's going to kill you. In the midst of terrible, terrible things, that's what actually kills you, is believing there's hope. And this other guy's like, no, this thing that no one can ever take from you. It's this sacred place inside of you. And so it's this battle of which is what life is, because so many, like, and they're both, watch this, and then we're going to have this discussion, because this is intriguing to me, because it is. Like, so we're not telling anybody out there that Laura's life has been the easiest, greatest thing ever, and y'all need to have Laura's life. Absolutely not.
No.
Okay, and you don't need to have Jeff's life.
Laura has made lots of mistakes.
And we make them, as soon as we're done with this, we're going to make them still.
Yeah, of course.
And we're going to keep, but it's perspective, it's perseverance, it's looking for the good and keeping going forward and embracing, not even just, sometimes we can't even embrace the season we're in. It's simply embracing the moment I'm in at this moment. And sometimes
it's that very moment.
It's that.
Sometimes you have to take it moment by moment.
That's it.
Yeah.
And to go, okay, crap, it's raining. I didn't want it to be raining. It sucks being in the rain. But my son drives my son crazy. Okay, I will not own an umbrella. Okay, I will not. I will never.
No.
My son, because it's me giving in to the weather.
Okay.
So like me, but now I get it. Backpacking, I'll wear a waterproof jacket.
Yeah.
But he will have he'll have an umbrella in his car, and if it's raining, he's going to put it on. I'm like, oh, and he'll run to the store, and he's not wrong. He'll run across the parking lot. And I'll walk the same pace I intended, and I'll walk in the store drenched wet. I'm not going to let the weather.
I'm a female. I don't want it to mess
up. And I'm wrong on that. Like, you could go, Jeff, your logic is unsound because you go backpacking. I get it, but it's just an exercise for me to remind myself I do not want the weather to determine my actions. I will respond how I react to it.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes, just like you say. So we each are all different people. We're all very unique. We're created so differently. We have to we can't say, well, what worked for Laura is going to work for me.
Exactly.
So let me talk to Laura because, if it worked for her, it's going to work. No, because our minds are different. The way we function is differently. The way we think, our past, which creates who we are, then, is very different. So, we're going to look at things differently, different perspective. You have to find that thing that works for you, or those reminders that work for you.
That's right.
Just like you with the umbrella, or just like, not my little reminders, but like, when you were talking about traveling and being close to God or feeling God in places. When I go to the mountains, I am like, God is like sitting right next to me.
Agreed.
Not that I don't feel him everywhere else.
Agreed.
But that's just me. That's what works for me. You talk about going to the mountains and camping in a tent around my daughter. She thinks you're absolutely crazy.
Right.
She wants to be in a beach at the resort,
That's right.
But again, whatever works for those people, whatever little reminder you have, whether it's the weather, whether it's my tattoo, whether, anything or whatever thing, those reminders, but also like, what are we doing? How are, for me, it's waking up and just thanking God immediately when I wake up. Like, thank you for my life. Thank you for waking me up today.
Agreed.
Thank you for this perspective. Thank you for, you know what? I live alone, or I own my own home. Like, what am I going to focus on? What works for me, right?
And you know what? We're not done. We're going to keep talking.
I'm sorry. Okay, I know we have to stop.
No,
like
but
get this off and then
we may have
for
two
next
parts of this because
like 4 episodes.
Because like this,
one.
it is that. It is little. God does not. Well, I can't say I'm not God.
Yeah.
God speaks to me in the way that he knows Jeff will understand.
Yes.
And what Jeff would like how he can communicate to me when I'm listening.
Yeah.
Okay. The way he speaks and communicates to me is not the same. He probably doesn't speak to you through deer and deer hunting and looking at deer heads and going, I remember this conversation with God. Probably not. Okay. I'm not saying, but like for me, how he communicates. But I know my obligation in that relationship is I know God desires to speak to me. He knows how to speak to me.
Yeah.
I need to put myself in as many positions as possible to listen to what he has to say.
Yes.
So like Bobby and I today, we'll go to the bleachers, not because I care about physical activity, because I know it allows me to slow down and listen to how God would like to speak to Jeff. And God never really beats me up and tells me what a horrible creation I am.
Mm-hmm.
He always speaks to me kindly, and he always lays grace upon me. Though how I teach myself is we're similar in that I do start every day with a simple activity. Is when I wake up, I realize the simple sentence, I've waited my whole entire life for this day.
I love that.
I've waited. Okay, so like we get so excited on Christmas Eve because we're going, waited a whole year for Christmas. I've waited my whole entire life for this day.
Yeah.
And that is something I should celebrate. Okay. And then the other certainty is I will never have another one of these exactly like this ever in my entire life.
Yeah.
So I might as well enjoy this one.
Yeah.
And if he woke me up, if I have a breath, then I would go, there must be something that God would allow me to do today. He doesn't need me to do anything for him. He allows me to do things for him.
Yeah.
Okay. There must be something he would he would like for me to do for him, or he would like to show me today. I want to be watching for those things. Okay. At the end of the day, so I will tell you this, and we're going to get way off into the weeds here. So in my garage, I framed in my garage, so we don't have a garage anymore. Okay, I made it the room that I call it's the den of death. Okay, so my garage is.
Please explain.
Okay, I agree. Okay, so and we're going to get really weird. So then, in the den of death, I have also built my own casket.
Oh wow!
So my casket is sitting in the den of death. Okay, and I'll show you a picture of this.
Okay.
Do you know this, Bobby? Bobby doesn't know this. Okay, wow.
That's some interesting things.
Evidently what I just said is a strange sentence because I've got some really odd looks looking at me right now. It makes complete sense.
Please hurry, explain.
So I did make my own casket,
right.
And it is sitting in the den of death. It's sitting, and I've got shelves in it that are sitting there. The casket is made for me. My dad actually helped make it with me. So we made it. I will... I'm not going to get buried in it because I don't think bodies need to go on the ground. But I will have this casket. Okay. In the casket right now, it's got shelves, and it has all these different seasons of my life and different reminders of the seasons. It is full of life.
How cool is
So I've got all kind of different rocks from mountains I've been on, all kind of pictures from me as a child, all kind of different seasons. It's just life. And so this box is not going to represent some dead body that's sitting in it. Somebody's going to, when I get buried, somebody's going to have to go in there and see the true life that's inside this box and look at all the things that really made up the thing that's in this box. So it doesn't scare me. So for me to truly embrace life, you must truly embrace the concept of death that comes equally.
Yeah.
And so they're
Yeah.
one and the same.
Yeah.
So like out of these, to go to these places. So you and I should be akin on this. If you've been to that place that you said, life is no more.
Yeah.
Okay. Then the minute you come out of that, if you happen to get that gift, then you're living on the house's money from there on. You know what? I shouldn't even be here from here on, because that whole other deal, weirdness. Okay. Let's see if I get the same weird. Okay. Laura looked at me way like I'm off on the casket deal.
Well, never heard anybody say they had a casket.
I do. And I'll show you a picture of it when we're done. But to all of that to get to every night.
Yeah.
I'll say the same prayer every night when I go to sleep is, I am so tired. I want to go to rest.
Yeah.
I don't really want to live a long life.
Yeah.
I'll live as long as God desires me to live. I am tired, but I want to end each day to go, you know what? If this is the last one,
Yeah.
I'd like more. Like, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
I would like more.
Yeah.
But you know what? Tonight, if this is the last one of these I will ever have, then I am satisfied
Yeah.
with what is in my casket. I am satisfied with the frame of death,
Yeah.
because there's nothing I can do about it. I go in peace,
Yeah.
okay? And I believe that I have fought the good fight. I have stayed true to the faith. I've done these things, and I am satisfied. You know, and not that I believe I'm going to die in my sleep or something. All of that.
It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
You're going to die at some
Okay.
point.
And I will tell you,
you're going into the slowly, hopefully very, very slowly.
well, I don't know. Like, so in
You know?
it, like the other weird thing, and I'll get on with it, will be whatever chat, we're maybe in part 4 of this discussion. I don't know. Okay. Is when I was a youth minister, okay, I knew with complete certainty, everybody who knew me with complete certainty for many years, there was about 3-year span, I knew it with 100% certainty that I was supposed to die on April 6, 2006. Don't know why. Don't know what was April 6, 2006. Matter of fact, I was going to die of a brain aneurysm.
Okay.
Knew it. Well, I knew that with clarity.
You following your own compass?
I knew, and everybody who knew me, like, and so we would go, and we're at 2004. Well, 2 years, you're going to be dead next April. Yep. I have a will. I wrote everything out. Everything was taken care of, because I knew April 6th was, I was going to die. My family knew it. Everybody knew it. I didn't tell my mom. How are you going to tell your mom?
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I'm going to die tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. So sorry, Mom, I didn't die. So, okay. So, but I knew I was going to pass away on that day. Knew it with certainty. I was spoken to. I knew it with clarity. Okay. And so out of that, and I was fine. So then that kind of changed how I live from that. Obviously, I am now doing this, and I will tell you this. Okay. So everybody out there, I would love to tell you something magnificent happened on April 6, 2006, because I'm a lot of years past that.
Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't tell you what occurred on that day, that my life was forever changed. I can tell you, and you can say, oh, you made it up in your head again. Okay. On that day, I do not know what this means, and this will be the first question I ask or hope that gets explained to me. Okay. The same voice that told me that I was going to die on April 6, 2006, in the same room, okay, because I got brought into a room and told this.
Okay.
Okay, it says, Jeff, I am very disappointed in you that you think death is merely physical, is what I was told. Okay, now in that, something in me or of me or something died.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I'd love to tell you I was something and I wasn't after. I don't know. Nothing of that.
Yeah.
And then also you could go, well, golly, Jeff, some greater thing told you they were disappointed. He didn't say he was disappointed in me. He just said, I'm disappointed that you think death is merely a physical thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know what happened since then, but then out of that, truly living on house money since then.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? And then so God knows how to communicate to me. And then so like that, hey, it's 2007. I should have been dead a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2008. I shouldn't even be seeing this. And we keep living that way. And so then it's truly this peace of, I don't know, shouldn't even be here.
Just like you say, that's God's way of communicating to you.
Mm-hmm.
So just like, again, we're all uniquely made.
That's right.
You know?
Everybody doesn't need a den of death in their casket in their garage. Probably not. Okay.
I think I will not pass.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's if we quiet ourselves and if we give ourselves these opportunities to really quiet and listen, shift our perspective, all the different things. If we put in the work and we really choose to open up ourselves and open up our heart to truly listen, then, you know, God speaks to us in whatever way. Like I said, with me, even, you know, becoming a Christian or just in all the different things in my life, I do not have one single moment where I can say,
yeah,
you know, I was laying on the beach and I just felt God's presence. I just know that now I look back and I think, man, when that was happening to me, I know God was with me.
that's right.
I just internally somehow, because that's him communicating with me. I mean, again, we're all very different. I don't think anyone is delusional or crazy when they tell me, hey, you know, I was here and I just had this moment and it was just right then and I just felt it and my life changed from that point forward. No, God knows me and God knows that I need to be worked on for quite a while, you know, and so it was just this slow process of getting me there. And, you know, just like he reaches us in different places, he reaches us in, you know, he may reach me and the people that I see or the people that I'm talking to or whatever it is. And then, you know, or he reaches me in the mountains and going on these trips and whatever it is. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So like that, what I love in this, like communicating with God is there's different verses, but like God wasn't in the thunder. He wasn't in the fire. He wasn't in the wind. He was this whisper.
Mm-hmm.
The still small voice of God,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so sometimes like me, when things are, well, when I'm heading off in the wrong direction, you know what I do? I make a whole lot of noise so I can't hear the whisper,
Yeah.
you know, and
We all
not,
do. Yeah.
Yep. And so like that.
Yeah.
And so like these moments, we all have to find that. Like for me and you, like we're similar in that. Like for me, I got to be outside. That's not everybody's. But to hear and to be listened, I can't have other things occurring. Like if I'm truly going to be quiet, I can't have my phone going. I can't be on the computer. I've got to be, that's me.
Yeah.
I just got to be
So it works
quiet
for you.
and I have to have time and I just need to be.
Well, I think, and that's where it kind of opens up to also a good reminder is not comparing ourselves.
Well, that's right.
Because if I'm comparing myself to your story or I'm saying, hey, this worked for him or whatever, you know, whether it's through social media or people that we're kind of meeting, the comparison is really easy to do for most people, especially with social media, just because everybody's putting their, you know, most wonderful things on social media and sharing all the great things. So then we start comparing, right? So, that's a reminder of don't compare your life and your story and where you are in your season. Also, like, you know, people that are my age, we're all in very different seasons of life. If I were to say, well, look at them, they're my age and they've been married for 25 years now and they've got their kids and all this and this. And if I'm comparing myself to that, then I'm definitely going to beat myself up, or I'm not going to hear what God's saying to me, or I'm not going to be open to what God's wanting to do with my life, with my story. I think the comparison is a really huge thing kind of with what we're talking about. Like you have to focus on what does he want to do with your life? What can you do with your life?
That's right.
You know, what's going to work for you? What little thing is going to remind you of, you know, whatever, what's going to be that reminder that's going to get you there? Just all these different things, as long as we just do not compare our lives to anyone else, to any other season.
Agreed.
I mean, which is so easy to do. I've been in plenty of seasons where I'm comparing myself to everybody else.
Agreed.
Like, you know, look at all my friends. They're all doing all this and they're all going to college. And I didn't go to college until I was 30.
Did you really?
I did. I went to Temple College at 30 years old.
Did you really?
Uh-huh. My son was already in high school.
Okay.
Daughter was in elementary. And I decided to enroll myself in college.
What in the world?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I did really good too.
I have no
almost
doubt.
graduated with a 4.0 till one class really kicked my butt. But yeah, but I did. I mean, and I did everything backwards in life, and I'm proud.
Why did you go to college?
Just to go, because I never went.
Fair.
Because I also thought, career wise in that direction, it would probably take me somewhere better. But I wanted to do it. I wanted to accomplish it. For me, it's facing those fears or facing those things. And so I enrolled myself at Temple College and, did terrible on the test to get me in. So I had to take like 3 or 4 math classes. Like I had to take like the like junior high like math class or something just to get me to take the first college level math class. It was so bad. So I did that. But when I took those, I sped through like 3 or 4 math classes one of the teachers was like, I think you're the fastest person that's ever gone through that many classes. Cause I was so determined to like do it right. But yeah, I mean, but everybody's different every other season. And for a while there, I was a little embarrassed of like, oh yeah, and I still every once in a while kind of get that little twinge of embarrassment when people are like, oh yeah, I went to A&M and I went here and I went here. Who do you root for? What college do you go to? I'm like, well, I didn't go to college, but then I went to Temple College, But then I have to remind myself like, hey, you know what? That's fine. That's my season. Because you know what? Just because they went to college does not mean that they are better than me.
Unless they went to A&M.
I mean, my family's
just
back,
kidding.
so I do. I understand. Yes, most of my siblings went to A&M. But yeah, I mean, but it's that comparison that you have to really stop yourself and make sure that you're not comparing yourself to everybody else.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So commonality.
Yeah.
A&M. Not that I'm going to. I happen to go to school there, but I have a very difficult time with math. Like so, math. I did not.
Math is hard.
Math was so hard to me. So there was a stupid class at A&M that I had Math 141. I remember this till I die.
Yeah.
Math 141. I had to pass it before I could take 142. Only 2 semesters of math I had to take before I could graduate. So I did the stupid thing, which was took every other class because I knew, math is going to kick my butt. So now I get to my senior year on course, okay, and I have to take Math 141. Okay. So I studied this, and I'll give you the brief version. Take the first test, and I made an 18 on the first test in Math 141. Okay.
Believe what I did?
So I went on that semester, and I don't even know the math term, but the professor would go, I don't know if that's the variance or rate. I don't even what this math term. But basically, somebody in the class would get 106 on the test. Like that's the highest score. And then somebody else would get this low number. Whatever the low number on the score was, when he would announce, or this person, I knew that was me. So they would go, hey, somebody got a 25 and somebody got 106.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'd be like, 25, that's better. Or they go 42, and I'd be like, yes, knocked it out of the park. But all that to say,
look at me doing good.
5 consecutive semesters of flunking.
Yeah.
I failed at 5 in a row. Like I couldn't pass this stinking class for nothing.
It's an expensive class.
Yes. So I'd like to thank my parents and whoever else supported me in that chapter of my life.
Yeah.
Fail.
Yeah.
Finally, I don't know how or what. All of that to say, one professor, he was from Jamaica. I couldn't even understand what he said, but somehow how he communicated it to me, it just clicked.
Yeah.
And then I passed, like I got an A because it just made sense. And so then you go, well, what happened in 142? Well, then I was smart enough. One of my mother's friends was a professor at a junior college, and she gave me a D the first time. So I did not earn anything, so I got up. But all of that,
grace there.
Yeah, we got a little bit. But it's interesting. What's interesting for me is you said you are the least competitive person.
Yeah.
And I would go,
competitive.
If I was guessing, I would miss the mark completely. And I'd go, this is one super competitive person. Oh, 100%. Wouldn't you agree, Bobby? Yeah, I would say very competitive. Like the math. I went in because I wanted to do it, and I'm going to do it. I'm
competitive with myself.
Well, agreed. But true competitors.
Not with anyone else.
Agreed. But true competitors.
Yeah.
So why do I go climb a mountain? Am I ever going to beat a mountain?
No.
So who am I competing against? Always
yourself.
That's right. True competitors are not really going against the person on the other side of the field. It's always a struggle within themselves and striving for the greatness that they know they're capable of.
Yeah. So in competition with myself.
Okay.
And myself only.
Yeah, that's right.
But not to the point to where I would beat myself up if I cannot, do good in whatever it is that I'm trying. So
irrelevant
myself to a sense of still, like, if I put myself up to something and I fail at it, I'm not going to be like, oh,
what is failing
anymore. Yeah. Because I know back in the day that I failed a lot, and it's going to be okay. I always go back to the whole mountain thing too. For me, when I go to the mountains, I'm reminded of every little thing that is happening in this world is nothing.
Agree.
Compared to this great life that we are given.
Mm-hmm.
So it's my reminder of, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. My brain starts going in all these.
No, but I agree like that.
But like, yeah, I mean, just maybe competitive with myself, but not even, I'm not even big competitive with myself either.
But like, you want to hear something funny? Like, so I would say, winning or losing matters to me none. I care less. In a board game, or like if somebody, now.
It's fun to win.
Who doesn't like to win?
If I lose.
But I want to play correctly.
Mad if I lose.
So like, yeah. I'm not going to do, all these people validate things that they would do and justify that they'll do whatever because it got them a win. Oh, you lost. Because the struggle was always with you. Like, yeah. And so like, what's weird is like me, I'm the chaplain for the local soccer team at UMHB. Okay. So I get to talk to all the boys before the game.
Yeah.
And I've done it for 10 years. Always. You know what? At the end of the game, the numbers may not add up. They may add up on the other side, may be ahead. We may be behind. That's not how we determine victory. The only thing we can control is ourselves.
Yep.
And the struggle is not against the people on that side of the field. The struggle is within ourselves. The numbers add up. Sometimes they do. There's been games that we have soccer team that we really lost, but the numbers added up on our side.
Yeah.
And we happen to get more points than them in that game. And there's some that, that we have lost.
Yeah.
That the numbers didn't add up right, but we really won. And so like you're going, well, that's the dumbest thing ever because it's all about winning. No, it's the competition, and it's the striving within ourselves of that. You climb mountains. Why? You did nothing.
Yeah.
You get to stand on a summit for a second.
Yeah.
What have you done? Nothing. The mountain is still there. It's the struggle to see who I truly am and what am I truly capable of and what abilities do I have. That's why you compete.
It's the climb.
It's the climb. It's not the only thing that the summit is good for is you have that momentary realization, I don't have to feel pain anymore for a second. I can just rest for a bit, for a second.
Yeah.
And then guess what you get to do?
Go back down.
Go back down.
Well, I feel like the people that are super competitive, and I don't know, I'm just saying in my mind, I don't know if they could ever truly touch true happiness in their mind because they're constantly competing with something else. So to me, not being competitive, and let's say you said in that thing where you said you or with the soccer game, you lost.
Okay.
But you really won. Because if you really look at the bigger picture of that, you lost the game, but what if, John over here kicked a goal and his friend was celebrating it, whatever it is. You saw teammates become better teammates together through this process.
Why did you say John?
I don't know. Is there a John?
Because I was fixing to say, because like out of that.
A guy named John that plays soccer?
Well, John Williams. Okay, so like he and I have this discussion. He's now a doctor here at Scott and White.
Oh, cool.
So he's a grown adult.
Yeah.
It's like he's grown up. There's a game that he and I both could point to.
Yeah.
That the numbers didn't add up.
Yeah.
Could not have played it better. Okay, he was magnificent in that game. We lost by the numbers.
The game.
Yeah. But we can go talk, and I will say, John, how many times do you think about that game? All the time.
Yeah.
Did we win or lose? Oh, we won.
Yes.
Not the score, but what we learned that game he has carried with him forever.
That's where I use that word perspective.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And so
whatever you're going to focus on.
that's right.
Yep.
So
Yep.
out of that game,
The game of life.
that's right.
Yeah.
And so you look at that and you're going, okay, and it's oversimplification of that. But we look, would we have loved to have won that game and been conference champions? Absolutely.
Well,
It would,
yes.
but
Other good things could come of that.
that's right.
Just like with me, would I again love to have my home on all the land, my white picket fence around it, and my little fluffy cows, and my marriage of,
Your little loving.
my marriage of 25, 30 years,
That's right.
My kids with the dad that's there, all the things. Would I love that? Yes. But you know what? That's not my story and that's not my life. I've still won. If you're comparing it as a game, in the comparison of life to other people would probably think, no, Laura didn't win. She way lost.
Okay.
She's been married. She's been divorced. She's been married. She's been divorced. She's, got 2 kids by 2 different dads, and neither one of their dads were around. Just all these things you can look at and say, I've lost. No, I've won. I am happy. I am whole. I am loved. I am valued. I know who I am. I'm proud of the person that I am. I'm loved by God. I'm on a good journey. I take care of I have this great perspective in life. And again, I know I'm going to fail. I'm going to fall, all these things. I'm always going to fail.
Right.
I'm always going to screw up and make mistakes. But in the bigger picture, I see God has opened my eyes probably through my story to be able to see the bigger picture, which is what I feel when I'm in the mountains.
That's right.
When I'm in the mountains and I'm looking at the mountains, it's like God is giving me this vision of life. And it's like, look at all these mountains and all these valleys and how huge it is and how beautiful it is. If I'm going to focus on this valley and this little valley, that's not what's in front of me. Why not focus on the bigger picture of this life and not just focus on, well, I want to win. I want to be the first one to get to that mountain.
That's right.
Or I'm going to be the one that lives the picture perfect life. Because I promise you also, if you're comparing, no one is living a
No, they're not.
life.
There's no
Whether
such
it
thing.
looks like they are, they're not. They're struggling in whatever way, and they're probably not going to share it. People like me, I didn't get the choice to really not share it because my life is in front of everybody.
Huh.
So everybody got to see Laura fail over and over. That was a part of my life back then, right? When somebody's struggling with other things, our problems and our hurts and our failures are right in front of everybody. Other people may have this picture perfect life from the outside, but then it's kind of hidden and you're not seeing their hurts or their struggles, or they may be struggling with whatever it is, just battling internally or depression, whatever it is that you may not see. When again, someone like me, you see my scars. My life was kind of out there in the open for everybody to see, some of the things, but like, I don't know. I mean, just the comparison, the way that you look at it, just all of those things matter. And just if you can really allow yourself to step back and just look at the bigger picture of life, to me, that's where you win.
Agreed.
Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Hey, let me ask you this question. That's fine. Okay.
I think we're like 2 hours.
Well, I was fixing to ask you the same question.
Podcast.
Yeah, I was like,
we got one more hour left.
I was going, okay, Laura, if you were going to guess how long we've been talking, I would say
Well, I
10
think
to 15 minutes.
I think we're 2 hours.
We're 2 hours.
I told you I could talk.
Okay.
I talk a lot. I probably should work at some point.
Oh, wait, so we'll do that because my phone's been going.
Yeah.
What we're going to do,
Yeah.
because it is interesting. It's very intriguing to me,
Yeah.
the conversation. And probably if you're listening to it, you've just listened to part 2 of our discussion.
Yeah, they could have fallen
They
asleep.
could have fallen asleep. If you're driving, I apologize. You fell asleep. But it is interesting, and we're the next time we are going to have another one on this is to look at, because you've said like this is exactly everything that we do here. I mean, it's this, it's life, it's community, it's together, it's hurts, it's perspective, it's this journey, and it's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's what this place is about and what life is about, and this, and then what you said is, God, we could have a whole other episode. Everybody that we serve here at Feed My Sheep that is unhoused, everything they're going through is right there in front of everybody to see. There is no hiding nothing.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, it's that. So then what you said, hey, I didn't have the luxury of I could hide everything. And then all of this stuff. Okay, we are going to take this discussion up and to talk about the mountains and to look at the mountains. But we going to, the next time, everybody's going to hold us to this, is Laura will have seen Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
And then
Homework.
she will be
tonight.
able to discuss that. And then the other one, okay, I'm going to give you 2 assignments.
Hold on. Let me write this down.
Okay. The other one out there, I'm not advertising any. So Shawshank Redemption.
Okay.
Okay, because that's life perspective. And the other one I want you to watch is The Alpinist.
Okay, my brother has that book and said it was the greatest.
Oh, it's magnificent.
Yeah. Okay, and he's mentioned it to me and I never read it. So there's the movie I can watch.
The Alpinist, and it's short. Okay, and then I'll even dial you in even more.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you what to watch, but like in The Alpinist, okay, I want you to really watch the whole and really look at the perspective of the girlfriend and what she kind of talks about it's just a documentary. It's not even a movie. It's just a documentary on one of the greatest free type climbers that the world has ever seen.
Okay.
He's magnificent good. Interesting. Both of those, and then we're going to take off from there.
Okay.
Bobby, have you seen The Alpinist?
You mentioned to.
Then you have to watch it as well. I know you've seen Shot, but Alpinist is for anybody out there, and what we've talked about here, and it'll make some sense. But we're going to continue this. I've enjoyed our discussion, if no other reason, selfishly, because we have like minds of how we look at this thing. And I do believe life is a beautiful, beautiful picture that God is painting.
Yeah.
And there's many strokes in the painting that will be Jeff that I would have painted differently, but you know what? I am not completely
the painter.
I am not completely the painter.
Yeah.
And there is the luxury of getting old. We can look back at some of the strokes and they look beautiful and they make a little bit of sense. And there's going to be some that are coming that I'm like, son of a gun, you screwed this whole painting up. Yeah, we were so close to this masterpiece. And then when it's all said and done, hopefully what we have created is something that God would look and show the world that was beautiful. And this thing that we are painting, every one of us out there, it's this thing, it's called a life. And every one of them is different. And every one of them, like we have said, they are beautiful. And there's many forms of art. Life is a beautiful, beautiful painting.
Yep.
And so we're going to look at that. Enjoyed our discussion. Bobby, you got a lot of work ahead of you. Whether this is 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever it is, and maybe you wrote it out, but hopefully out of that, I would listen to this conversation and I would hear this, and wherever I was at, not my voice, but to hear, it's a difficult thing, but we do have a choice how we face these things.
Yeah.
And we do control that. And so, Laura, good to have you here. Absolutely beautiful to me that we did not talk about one thing that we were going to set out to talk about and had no idea that we were going to end up here and talk about the things we did. Okay. And then hopefully out there, everybody who's listening to this, we come to this. Everything we do here, everything we're about, even while we do this goofy little podcast thing, it's simply because of this truth that people matter.
Yeah.
And not because Laura and I and Bobby or whoever else say that people matter. Okay. We say that because God himself says it.
Yeah.
He says that you individually matter and that you were divinely created by him. You matter. Okay. And we matter in so many different ways. We are not irrelevant. We matter. Okay. And that also has many different scales to it, and that we also matter. and being a part in other people's lives, and we are not irrelevant into the whole story that is going on. We do have a role and a responsibility in this world to see those that are lost, that are hurting, that are alone.
Yeah.
And be there. So, interesting discussion. Okay. And so we will look at the assignments. We will take this up. There will be, whatever it is, phase 3 or phase 2 or phase 4 of this discussion. We will continue. And everybody out there, hope you have a great day. And no matter where you are, that you trust that the compass is right. It is pointing you in a true direction. And just like they would say in Africa, when you're on a climb, pole pole, which means slow, slow. Just keep climbing. Pole pole, slow, slow, but you keep going forward.
I like
Keep climbing. It's good.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to see that mountain.
Yeah.
Kilimanjaro is fantastic. Never been?
Nope.
Oh, fantastic. We're going to talk about that and that climb.
Yep.
So my assignment, okay, you're going to watch those and you're going to tell me is the next time we meet and you're going to say, Jeff, tell me why in the world you climb Mount Kilimanjaro.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm
Love to hear it.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go from there. Because that was the year after I was supposed to die.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And then why do you have a bracelet
know.
on that you haven't taken off since 2006?
Yeah. I would love to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we're going to go that direction because I called you out and said, why do you touch your wrist?
Yeah.
So then you're going to have questions for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So that is it. New record for length of time. Congratulations, Laura. We broke the record.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Collage Podcast, a production of Red Cord Media. For more information on this and other podcasts, please visit redcordmedia.org.